Watch out, Snake Eyes. Here comes a Cobra. Here's your look at the new Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series, Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins, The Baroness. G.I. Joe Classified Series is loaded with iconic personalities from the epic history of the G.I. Joe franchise. These fan-favorite characters are presented in a 6-inch scale with premium detailing, packaging, and accessories with advanced articulation that raises the vibrant heroes and villains of G.I. Joe to the next level. With a robust roster of G.I. Joe and Cobra characters, the classified series of G.I. Joe action figures pays homage to the past while embracing the modern for G.I. Joe fans new, old, and in between. But before we have a look at the Baroness, didn't mean to startle you there, the first thing we're going to want to do is figure out how tall the figure stands. And how do we do that? We take this tape measure of mine and put the laser right to the very top of her head. You don't want to shine that in her eyes, even though she only has a plastic face. But anyways, the figure does stand 6.2 inches in height. Switching that over to centimeters, Baroness is about 16 centimeters, 15.8 to be exact. Yeah, you never really want to shine a laser into somebody's face, real or otherwise. With that public service announcement aside, let's bring in some of the other figures that we had a look at. Here she is next to Snake Eyes, about the same height. We can also bring in Storm Shadow, again, about the same height. These figures don't look like height-wise they're that different from one another. Although, to be fair, Baroness has one big problem with the figure, the way that she's built. A lot of it has something to do with her neck. More on that in a second. What's wrong with her neck, you may ask? Hold on. We'll talk about that in a second. Before we do that, of course, let's have a look at the accessories that come included with her. Starting first with some firepower. She comes included with a machine gun. It almost looks like an MP5K. I'm not 100% certain, though. It's molded here in black plastic. It almost looks like the front end of it is just a slight different shade, almost like a really dark brown. But it does have some nice detailing done to it, both sides, so you can see. And of course, you can take that and fit that into her hand. I'll show you guys that in a second. She also comes included with a couple of blades. Not even small blades either. These things are quite long. They seem to be a matching pair with a nice dark gunmetal gray for the blade. And as you can see, when we look at the handles, the handled hilts look like snakes, little snake heads. I think that's a fun little touch that they included. Admittingly, I will say, like, the blades almost have an unfinished airbrushing job to them, especially when you get to the handle end of things. But all things considered, I can certainly dismiss it for the fact that they have really cool snake heads for the ends. Now, again, you can either fit these into her hand, or the other thing that they've actually done as well, you spin the figure around to the back, move her arms out of the way. She's got a couple of little holsters on the back of her belt. You can then take the blades and feed them down into it. We'll say it's pretty tight quarters. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, wait a minute, maybe you had them facing the wrong way. No, actually, even if you face them this way, you really have to fight to get them through the holsters. Plus, as well, I think when you're going to be displaying it, you probably will want to have the snake heads facing outward. So we'll just, again, flip that around. And you really, again, have to apply a lot of pressure to get those slotted in there. They really don't give you very much clearance at all. But at least there's a place to store them if you don't want to have them displayed in the figure's hands. That's a nice touch. I like that. Wish that they would fit in a little bit better, but at least there's a place to store them. Snake Eyes, I'm looking in your immediate direction. But let's go ahead and take the gun, fit that into her hand, just to show you that they do fit in either one of her hands. And even though, like, the handle looked like it was a little too big, providing you can get it around her tiny little... She's got these trigger fingers, both sides actually, but the plastic is so thin on them that a lot of times you're going to bend them. I find it actually helps if you put the gun in on an angle like this and then twist them around. Sometimes it catches that finger, sometimes it doesn't. Again, at least you can get the gun in place. You probably already see what's happening with the neck. More on that in a second. Oh man, that neck. The other accessory she comes included with, let's go ahead and take the swords out of the back there just for a second, because I feel like they're going to get in the way, especially when we look at the figure's posability. For the figure's head sculpt, there is one other thing that she comes included with, and that's her glasses. But before we get down to looking at the glasses, I want to look first at the head sculpt here. It's not terrible. It's not a bad-looking head sculpt at all, actually. In the movie, I think she's played by Ursula and Corbera, or Corbero. Not a bad choice, I guess, for Baroness. I have not yet seen the movie. And I guess this figure translates pretty good to that. I think the likeness is close. It's close from at least the images that I've seen. Like I said, she does come included with the glasses. Let's go ahead and put those in place right now. Now, if you look at the side of her hair, see there's these open, they almost look like square-shaped openings on either side, where you're going to take these little tiny glasses. Be careful, of course, you don't drop them, because you're never going to be able to find them. Oh, I shouldn't have said that just yet. And you're going to fit them into those holes. Now, if you put one side in before the other, you'll find yourself having then to pull the glasses back out and then sort of readjust things. See what I mean? I didn't get them quite in there. Let's try that again. Give it the college try. Get them just above the bridge of her nose. That's usually where glasses end up being. And then just sort of push them in. There we go. There we go. That was a lot better. Took a couple of times to do that. Just adjust them a little bit. And you've got the Baroness with more her familiar looking glasses. I will say it does bring a lot more to the table when you're seeing the head sculpt. I think the glasses do help quite a lot. The glass, and I'm using bunny ears to describe that, the plastic, of course, that they would have covered over the lenses that would be glass, don't distort the eyes too badly either, that you can still see straight through them and make out her eyes underneath it. Overall, head sculpt isn't terrible. I didn't think I really would have liked the look of Baroness in the movie, but sort of the more that I'm seeing of her, with, of course, not short of seeing the movie itself, I don't think that the look of the character is too terrible. When, however, though, you translate this to a figure, something got lost along the ways, and miscommunication, I feel, was happening here when it came to her neck. Let's talk a little bit about the figure's neck. Well, you can see already she's got the neck like a giraffe. I'm not sure what's happened here, but when you're looking at the neck, she has like a collar choker piece that goes right across the top here, right across about midway through the neck. The problem with that, though, is it's midway. This collar piece, I feel like, should have been down right above the top of her torso. And resulting of that, because they left that little gap there and made that further up, her neck is way too long. I mean, way too long. I'm trying to look at it from a side where it doesn't look so incredibly long, and I'm finding a tough time trying to find a good angle. What I would have really done is taking the head and got rid of this bottom piece completely, so that the collar was, the choker was the first thing that was right after her torso. And I think that would have given us just the proper length of neck. I'm not even sure why they had to make it as long as they did, but it stands out so terribly on the figure. As for her, the rest of her body, now they did go in there and paint, or try their best to paint, the top area where, of course, the opening of her top is. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't match the rest of the coloring of the face. It comes across way too pale for starters, and it looks like it's been painted. Now, it's hard to really avoid that, because they would have taken the body and molded it likely here in black plastic. Painting over top of that in a flesh tone would be difficult enough as it is. But unfortunately, like I said, it just doesn't blend well enough to the neck. The really, really long, it's so long. And of course, her face. Now, as for the rest of the body, if I was to maybe just look at it like this, cover my hand off the parts that I don't like, and the rest of the body is very much a traditional looking Baroness. I really like the Cobra logo that they've got in the middle area here. Apparently, this is going to be a springboard to a new G.I. Joe franchise. I'm not really sure how Baroness comes into play with a Snake Eyes Origins, but I'm really, again, hoping that this is going to be an ongoing, a running G.I. Joe series. The outfit is pretty good. I mean, it's like similar to Snake Eyes in the way that the molding here is probably this matte black plastic right here. And then they've gone in there and they've painted things like the shoulders, the torso piece, the inner section of the torso, and then things like her legs, for example. She has a classic-looking Baroness outfit, complete with very high heels. Now, they didn't give her the cut-in on the high heels. Instead, what they gave her platform boots. I would imagine in the movie that this part probably is missing, and she does have high-heel boots. Not boots looking like this. It may be the case where she actually has boots looking like this. Again, haven't seen the movie just yet. But it's got some nice sculpting on the legs, got nice sculpting on the boots, and overall it's not a bad looking figure at all, except for, even like the head sculpt's not terrible either. It's the neck. It's the neck that ruins everything, I feel, for this figure. If they had only shortened it, I think you'd have a pretty good looking Baroness on your display. Let's talk now about the figure's articulation. So for Baroness, her head rotates all the way around. In one way, it's actually a benefit that she has such a long neck like this, because it does allow then the head to rotate all the way around. I can't imagine, I would hope to imagine that that's not the reason why the neck had to be so long, so that her head would actually be able to move. Please let that not be the reason. Anyways, like I said, the head rotates all the way around. There is a hinge joint happening there too, so you can move the head forward and back, or up and down I should say. And then there is, of course, that secondary ball joint right at the base of the neck. The head sculpt kind of, in a way, reminds me of Bayonetta. I guess you probably could customize this into a Bayonetta figure. That'd be kind of fun. But she does have, like I said, that secondary ball joint at the base of the neck. Even if you drop the neck further down, it really doesn't conceal just how long of a giraffe neck that actually is. Such a shame. As for the shoulders, similar to when we saw with Storm Shadow, wow, I just threw out a whole lot of S's there. The tops of the shoulders, they've allocated a gap between this part of the arm and the rest of the body here, the rest of the torso. It then allows the arms to kind of tuck inside the body, and a nice way to then give the figure some additional articulation. You can, of course, take the arms and rotate those all the way around. Now, this is going to be a more of an issue. Not so much bring the arms out, but when you're trying to rotate the arms all the way around, you're going to be fighting against a really hard plastic at the tops of her shoulders. So it really does limit. Then you really have to force it and turn it on an angle in order for her to get a full rotation. In addition to that, seeing it from the back of the figure, she does also have the shoulder crunch, so that can move forward, that can also move back. So that's a nice touch. I like that. Spin it back around. The upper figure has an upper torso ball joint, and she also does have a lower torso ball joint. Again, some really nice sculpted work there. Love this belt. Just love it. It is actually a separate piece too, so it can shift up and down the figure's torso, but not to the point where it's not similar to the skirting of Storm Shadow. That was a real issue I had with that figure. This just sort of, well, I mean, the legs are low enough anyways, so that it's not going to hit the belt. In case you are curious, the figure can pull off a full Van Damme splits. And again, the belt isn't going to be shifting around on you. When you are doing this, of course, it's going to drop the legs down. You just will want to tuck them back up into the cavity there. The legs can go forward, back. She has a swivel 3/4 of the way up the thigh. She has a double hinge on the knee. Articulation where the boots are attached to, of course, the lower leg. And then when it comes to her feet, the feet rock back and forth. And she does also have an ankle pivot. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this and expressed it with the review of both Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, but the figures do also have peg holes on the undersides of their feet. I did use a peg stand, an actual display stand for displaying Baroness, because she did have some issues at the beginning of this review when I had her spinning around on the rotisserie. But overall, it's not a bad-looking Baroness. It keeps enough the core idea of what Baroness should look like, and as a movie version of Baroness, I think she does work pretty good. The problem, though, is, again, we'll just bring the other figures in that we've looked at so far, straighten out the feet of Snake Eyes, bring in also Storm Shadow. Again, not bad-looking figures. Where the biggest issue, and you probably already see where I'm going to be going with this, the biggest issue with Baroness is not her body. It's not even really her head. It's not even the fact that she has short hair instead of the long traditional Baroness hair. It is the neck. It is the neck. It is the neck. I don't know why, again, they had to make the neck so long, but what was Hasbro really thinking when they decided to go that route? If it meant that the figure had head articulation where it could rotate all the way around, I think that's a silly reason to give the figure such an incredibly long neck like they gave Baroness here. The only real workaround I have to sort of reducing how awkward her neck looks is to angle Baroness's neck and her head slightly lower, so she's kind of looking down. It does at least a little bit of a better job of hiding just how long that giraffe neck actually is. Short of that, which I've already mentioned in this review, short of that, it's actually not a bad-looking Baroness. It has things that I really like, and a real traditional-looking Baroness that I liked from the original cartoon series. It sort of looks like they've taken the design of that character's original 80s costume and sort of just modernized it a little bit. Now, what role she'll actually play in the G.I.JOE Origins Snake Eyes movie, time will tell because I have not yet seen the movie. Is the movie actually even out yet? I'm going to have to double-check that. It is a movie, yes, I will watch because it is a G.I. Joe movie. Whether, again, Baroness plays a small role, whether she's just going to be walking in for a few scenes and then exit her way out, or whether she's actually going to be playing quite a pivotal role in the movie. Again, time will tell, and we'll probably have a better discussion of it after we've seen the movie. Baroness, though, has some really nice design elements going for it and some pretty good-looking accessories. And if you can overlook the fact that she does have a monstrously long neck, then she is not a bad-looking figure to put on display. What do you guys think of the Baroness? Let me know down below in the comments section. And really, how bad is that neck? Hashtag, the neck is too long. That's a really bad hashtag. I probably could have come up with something a little bit better. Anyways, if you guys are new to this channel, enjoying all the content you're seeing, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. As well, you can also do yourself a service of hitting that bell notification so you're getting those friendly reminders of whenever new videos will pop up onto this channel. Also, as well, I can throw out the friendly 411 reminder to you guys that Monday to Friday, and sometimes even on the weekends, we post new videos 2 times a day. Generally, it's at 12 p.m., and it's also at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you can mark that on your calendar. You can mark that on your arm. You can even mark that on the neighbor's dog, but don't probably do the last 2 things that I suggested. Mark it on a calendar. And then that way you'll get those, you'll know when new videos are popping up. Even though technically we have wrapped things up right now with Snake Eyes, the G.I. Joe Origins figure line. There's definitely going to be a lot more videos coming your way, so make sure, yes, you're keeping your peepers peeled to this channel. And as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.